We're talking about Snake Eyes and Black Widow up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun.
Yeah, I'm a robot. I'm a robot.
And we're off 2 weeks ago, right?
I don't even know what day it is anymore. So. It's the last of my teacher summer, so I'm going to just pretend I don't know what day it is, and I'm just going to keep like rolling through all of it, and then pretty soon I have to go back to the grind like all the rest of you people.
Like all the rest of us, but yeah.
Like I haven't been grinding all summer or something.
You've been doing stuff all summer, so I don't know what you're talking about.
People think the teachers don't do anything.
We probably go back to school and like do less.
Probably, yeah.
This year
I might actually get to do less. It'll be nice. I'll be like, what? I'll be curious to see what COVID protocols we're taking.
During all of this, we've actually gotten to check out a couple of movies.
Yeah, so Vincent and I still like the theater. We are still theater buffs. I think as we get older, we're a little pickier about what we're willing to pay for at the theater, maybe, because we do like our popcorn and everything. And so we're like, are we really going to pay for that at the theater? So we will do that every once in a while, but we do at least twice a month really like to go to a movie theater date.
Checked out it was a decent new theater.
Yeah, so I thought so. Yeah, I liked the experience. It was
the Flicks Brew House.
Flicks Brew House. So it's similar to Draft House, but slightly different as well.
Because it exists.
But less bankrupt.
But less bankrupt, right? Because it's going to be.
And it exists.
And we'll see.
Unlike it does here.
Well, we'll see how long. My concern is still the life and the likelihood of theaters staying alive.
I think people really like going to the theater.
No, that's only us old people.
Yeah, no, people don't.
Well, our people.
Our people do, but that's what I mean. What's going to happen to them? Maybe I can see a couple of them staying in business, and they're going to eat each other up.
Maybe they can start doing like they did back when they started doing the Pokemon movies, where they would give you like this ultimate Pokemon card just for going to see the movie.
Right, some swag that you get just for going to the theater. I think they're going to have to do some of that to entice. I would agree with that. Although I will say, I think because people waited such a long time to see Black Widow, it did take us a while to get tickets, because we are kind of particular about where we want to sit in the theater, and we're not like chomping at the bit to see it the very first day where it's all crammed, packed full of people. So it did take us a couple of days to get tickets, so that was reassuring.
Yeah. So, but before we get to Black Widow, let's talk about Snake Eyes. So this was kind of the one I was like really excited to see.
More? You think you were excited to see this more than Black Widow? I felt like the anticipation, because I had waited more for Black Widow.
I've been waiting to see Black Widow for a heck of a lot longer, but like Snake Eyes came out of nowhere.
Right. I feel like that we hadn't heard about Snake Eyes very long, so it was nice. It was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
He is definitely one of the characters, at least I remember growing up watching G.I. Joe, that he was that cool character, right? Mm-hmm. You know, he doesn't talk very much, kind of mysterious, really cool, gets it done.
I don't remember him ever talking. Like, he was always silent. He always seemed like he was like he took a vow of silence.
Yeah, I always wondered that too, because I don't remember him talking. I mean, he talked with his actions and like with his mannerisms in the cartoon, it seemed like, or maybe I was reading that into him.
He did a silent Bob.
Yeah. So he was always that kind of mysterious character, and I didn't read the comics, which I think is a theme a lot of the time I say this. I didn't read the comics. I was kind of selective on what comics I read, actually, come to think of it, now that I think of all the comics I didn't read. But so I didn't know anything about his backstory, but he does have a backstory in the comics and everything. We just didn't see it so much in the cartoon.
But he was like one of the coolest characters on G.I. Joe.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and when I grew up watching G.I. Joe, it was a time where there was a lot of masculine characters, and so growing up being a geek girl, I wanted to be a lot of the boys.
Right.
And it was nice to see Scarlett in the Snake Eyes movie because she was one of the few females that I actually wanted to be. And I felt like they introduced her just enough that maybe she's going to get some kind of spin-off, or she's going to be more prevalent in some of the other stuff, because they... No.
You don't think so?
You don't think so?
I don't. I personally think they haven't made enough money to even continue, so the whole thing's moot point now.
Oh, really? So Snake Eyes didn't do
well?
well?
If they made it, because here's one thing, it came out of nowhere. They didn't push this out enough. They did the marketing for it at the last minute. And I don't know why.
No, I don't either, because it really did come out of nowhere. It was like all of a sudden, hey, Snake Eyes is coming. Oh, look, it's in the theater. Wait, what? Don't we have to wait like 2 years?
I know some people that have seen Snake Eyes and they hated it.
What?
Because of the fact that it doesn't follow the story. Exactly. It kind of does, but, you know, they made it for a movie.
Well, yeah, at what point are people going to learn that we're just going to have to start separating these, right? Mm-hmm. There's got to be this, I like the movie separately for somebody's interpretation of this character, and at least I got to see this character kind of like up close and stuff.
Like Ready Player One.
No. That was a very specific example of something that had a visceral reaction and they screwed that up. Okay, I'm just saying.
But had you not read the book, would you have liked the movie?
No.
I think you would have.
I hate it. It was terrible.
I think you would. I don't think it was terrible. I thought it was actually
it was awful.
Good movie.
It was just a...
But for Snake Eyes, for what we saw, I thought it was a great movie. And I think it stayed close enough, kind of close enough. Not exactly what happened, but...
I mean, I didn't know the story at all. But from when I went back and looked after the movie, because I was curious to see, like, where did this kind of story have grounds in and where did it come from? From what I could tell, there were some really good parallels to what was in the comics. No, is it exactly the same? No, but they made some parallels and they modernized it a little bit and they kind of changed it up a little bit. So from what I read, going backwards, to me, it seemed like they had done a good job
at portraying the character.
At portraying the character, and not only that, but also portraying the other character, which we see evolve, who you don't even know that's who he is at first.
Yeah.
Until, and I don't want to give away too much, but there's another character that we see in there, but may not.
If you follow what happened, you know who people are.
Well, you should, right? If you're paying attention.
Yeah. Because I think I came to realize it like 5 minutes into the movie.
I had an inkling, but then I was like, well, maybe, hopefully not. But I was afraid that was the case. Yeah. Right. So I was like, okay. But I thought they did a good job of keeping us interested in both characters. Keeping a lot of the light on Snake Eyes. I'm so sorry. I really have been working a lot this week. It
kind of gave me a Batman Begins vibe.
Why do you think that?
Because it kind of starts out where he loses his parents, then he has to like go and live on the streets and do what he needs to do to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
So it had kind of parallels with that, I think. What are your thoughts?
Well, and it was interesting to see that he wasn't so squeaky clean, right? Because a lot of the times you think of G.I. Joe, or at least when I was growing up, you know, there was this very big divide, right? So there's Joe and there's Cobra. Cobra's bad, Joe is good. So when you're...
But here's a weird thing that they did with that. Because you would see Storm Shadow, but Storm Shadow was dressed in white. But you see Snake Eyes dressed in black. So they kind of like flip it with the color schemes on that. So what are your thoughts on that? Because maybe they kind of showed it by what he wore. He was the only Joe that wore black, like all black like that.
But I think, I mean, when I was a kid growing up, I just assumed that he had trained as a ninja and that's why he wore black.
You want to know the reason why he wears black? It's because of the toy. Originally what happened with G.I. Joe, they were going to release the first wave of G.I. Joe figures and they were looking at the toys going, well, you know what, we can't pay the manufacturers to put paint tampos on all the characters, so we're going to have to lose some paint applicants for some of the characters because we can't pay for it all. And then somebody went, what happens if we have one character that we don't put any paint applicants on? And they went, that's a pretty good idea. So we can keep all the other toys that still have all the paint on them and all the detail, and we'll have this one figure that has nothing on it. And lo and behold, Snake Eyes was born, and a figure that has no paint or no nothing sold the best. That's the reason why he's black.
And it's funny why you see some of the things that happen with even He-Man and the cartoons, as well as
Right, the
Joe.
characters come from the necessity of the toy company and how they're trying to sell their wares to all of us. And
because didn't I think that Battle Cat was a panther in some kind of like
Big Jim's
zoological
or something.
themed
Yeah, he was.
thing.
He was, and they were joking around. It's like, why don't we have He-Man ride on it? And they went, that's a really good idea.
that's a really good idea. Let's do that.
Let's do that.
We have a bunch of those that didn't sell. We'll just smack some paint on them, and Battle Cat is born.
Well, when do we get like Wild Bill and the Dragonfly? We don't get that when the Apache.
No.
It's too old, and that's one of the things that needs to be updated in modern day movies to make it appeal to the masses. And I think that's what some of us hardliners need to think about when we're like, oh well, it's not the same. But you have to update it to make it for the masses, because...
But you can't update G.I. Joe for the masses.
Why can't you do that?
Because it's humans against humans. That doesn't work anymore. If G.I. Joe was fighting aliens, it would be fine. But because they're fighting other humans, not politically correct anymore.
But it's Cobra.
They're bad. They're like terrorists and stuff. We still have a place for terrorists.
But when you look at the Cobra bad guys, they're all racial stereotypes, and G.I. Joe's not appealing to the modern child. The only reason G.I. Joe is selling, and all that new G.I. Joe stuff that you can't find anywhere is being picked up by you and me.
Right.
It's not some little 10-year-old
well, I think we grew up in that time frame where, you know, the space race had been happening. It happened recently, and there was still, you know, USSR and songs about it, and there was all this, you know, national pride still and everything. So I think G.I. Joe was still a thing because you wanted to be that American hero.
Yeah,
but now
the whole...
Yeah, they even had to bring like Sergeant Slaughter in.
Yeah, but now the American hero, America bad.
Yeah, America's bad, and we hate America. America's making all the wrong choices.
That's why Superman doesn't stand for truth, justice, and the American way anymore. Right. Because America bad.
Yeah.
So G.I. Joe can't be the real American hero anymore.
because now people are like, well, obviously the Americans caused, because Snake Eyes was not a good friend and he caused Tommy to be, Storm Shadow, and so now he caused Cobra to be that way.
That's a stretch.
Watch if it's not correct. Watch if people don't feel that way.
You should be writing it, Colleen. It's so wonderful.
But see, I guess because I grew up in that era, so I like that. And because it shows you, I like it when they show you somebody's faults and humanities, and they make mistakes, and they try to learn from those mistakes, and they try to move on and grow and be better, So here he is, and he's had revenge on his mind the whole time. That's all he cares about. And he lies and pretends to be somebody he's not so that he can get what he wants. That's human nature, to get what you want out of life, And so then he realizes, oh man, I've probably backed the wrong people. This was maybe not who I actually am at heart. So to see that character progression, I think, as somebody who enjoys reading, that's kind of character progression that we want to see in any kind of novel, is that, And so I liked that story arc. I liked seeing him, make mistakes and be flawed and
that's another thing. It was just like, why can't these characters have flaws? Why can't Superman be flawed?
Because he's a DC character. Superman can't be flawed. He's the all-American good guy.
He killed Zod.
Just that one
Man of
thing.
Steel.
People lost their minds over that too.
Yeah.
They were never going to watch another Superman franchise again because of that.
Yeah.
But people, okay, he's an alien.
And he caused so much destruction. I was like, did you see Superman 2? They caused destruction there too.
Yeah, and that was a show that they were going to have, or they did have for a little while, and then it didn't really catch on, but I thought it was a really funny premise. Was basically, it's this cleanup crew that comes around after all these superheroes have had their battles or whatever, and they've got to fix up the city and clean up all the messes from these superheroes. I thought that's a really funny idea because, we see this in all the Marvel movies and the DC movies and everything, and I'm sure when people go see Suicide Squad this weekend, it's going to be more of the same where they are, totally trashing the cities and stuff. Yeah. So to see somebody have to come in and fix all of that, I thought that would be funny, but it didn't last. That show didn't last. So, but yeah, in the G.I. Joe movie, there was a lot more of ending people's lives than in the cartoon, because in the cartoon they would all shoot at each other and always miss, which we kind of made fun of as we got older and we were watching the cartoon.
Right.
We would be like, so do these people never train or what? They can never hit one another.
All these wonderful weapons and just
I know, they have all of this stuff and they never hit each other. So at least in the movie, to an extent, there was some carnage that we got to see. There was a little more realism as far as, they fought and did some damage to one another and stuff. So that was at least, a separation from the cartoon. We didn't get any and knowing is half the battle. I felt like I needed that somewhere in there. Why didn't they say that at least once? I was disappointed that I didn't get that at least once in the movie.
I don't think we got that through any of the G.I. Joe movies.
Yeah, I think they did.
I think they did.
Did they?
Yeah, I think so.
I have to rewatch them because
I'm gonna have to go back.
Not as memorable as this movie was.
This movie was, for me, definitely memorable. One of the things I remember, after the movie, you were saying was you wish that he would have picked an accent and gone with it.
that was the one thing that was driving me crazy throughout the entire thing, is that he kept going back into his, is he British or accent?
I guess.
He has a British accent, and he kept going into it every so often throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, come on.
You're like,
House can do it.
Right? Could we have had him reshoot that?
Hugh Laurie can do it. You can do it.
Or he can just be like Snake Eyes and just shut up.
Just not
just don't
speak.
talk.
Just don't talk at all.
Don't talk.
Just nod a lot.
Nod.
He was like kind of cocky and sarcastic, which I wasn't expecting. You know, I thought he was going to be like a little more silent because that's the character that I was used to. So I was not exactly used to that. So I could see that maybe throwing some people off where they were like, it's a little much. It's a little over the top. So
Well, again, the more you do on a mysterious character, the less mysterious he becomes.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so to an extent you were like, okay, well don't have him talk too much because we're like losing some of the
If you were to do it, you kind of have to open it up and make him more, and I guess that's why they had him talk a whole lot.
Well, but they need to stop feeling like they need to dumb this down so much for everybody. Like, he could have been more silent, and through his actions and through his acting and through what other people were doing interacting with him, we could have gotten some of that without him having speaking lines.
Well, because I think Kevin Smith is excellent in doing that as Silent Bob, even though everybody hates him right now for Masters of the
Because of
Universe.
He-Man. I mean, yeah, I think...
Like, he's like busting into tears because of it.
Shut up. Seriously?
Yeah.
but
Really?
he cries a lot now, I think.
Well, in fact, I think Netflix shut him up. He can't talk about it anymore.
Oh, really? He's gotten real sensitive ever since he almost died.
He's made it worse.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he likes to be criticized.
Oh. Well, most people don't like to be criticized.
Yeah.
We don't, as that's human nature. We don't want to be criticized. That's a thing.
Yeah, but as an adult, you suck it up.
No, I don't. I'm terrible at that. Have you met me? Like, I will go weeks.
But you should.
So,
No, I can't.
Was it a good movie? Worth seeing?
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. But I think you have to go into it knowing what it is.
Yeah. Well, what it is trying to world build multi-franchise movies. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it's trying to do. And I think that's why they had Scarlett in there, because she didn't play a big part in there, but she played a big enough part to say, hey, G.I. Joe movie's coming out.
Yeah. And I felt like, too, and maybe I'm wrong, but because we are trying to be a little more politically correct and more aware as a nation, right? And because of everything that happened with COVID and it being the quote-unquote China virus and stuff, and the way people have treated, Asian American people in this country recently, I felt like maybe some of that was... Because we're starting to see a few of these movies come out now where they're kind of paying more attention to Asian superheroes, or because we have the other young man from Kim's Convenience who's the
and
the Marvel one coming out.
That and China finances most of these movies now, so
Yeah.
there's also that.
Yeah, so I was wondering if that was some of the catalyst too that led them to take on Snake Eyes first. Although
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, although to me Snake Eyes is one of the most interesting. I was glad we saw the Baroness too. I thought it would have been nice to have at least seen like little something of like Destro and Cobra Commander, because again, those are kind of like, staples. So just like a little blip, of something, but it was at least nice to have the Baroness in there.
Right.
And again, I think they're trying to highlight, I guess I have a hard time watching movies nowadays because I keep watching them and thinking, are they just trying to give this to us to pander? Are they just giving more female characters to pander because that's become an issue?
Well, here's the question. I haven't seen the movie. Was the Baroness dressed with massive amounts of cleavage?
Oh, no.
Well, then they're pandering.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's buttoned up.
Boo. I want to see the movie now. Just ruined it for me.
He just ruined it for you.
But she was wearing tight stuff, though.
I don't know.
Wasn't she?
It didn't seem like it. Maybe.
I mean, it wasn't.
I'm a
like,
girl, so I don't think I
it
look at her
wasn't
the same way.
Black patent leather, like.
You didn't get the figure out and like rub your hand, rub your thumb over.
No.
No, of course not.
No.
Oh, the Baroness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, but I'm a girl. I didn't do that. I like Scarlet. She.
You were too busy kissing Optimus Prime.
I was kissing Optimus. Hello. He's a stud muffin. Where is my Optimus? Where'd he go? I have one over here somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. Optimus was so awesome.
Yeah. And you may see some changes coming in the next few weeks
because Colleen has a problem.
Yeah.
And she can't leave things alone for very long, so she's going to rearrange stuff, and we'll see how that goes. So,
hopefully it goes well.
I thought Snake Eyes was good, but I thought Black Widow was better. Of the two, Black Widow I would go back and see again.
Yeah. I'd actually watch both again. Now that we're talking about it, I'd like to see Snake Eyes again.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once you've seen it, you've seen it.
I don't think so. I think it's a really good movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think people should watch it as a movie and just allow it to reboot G.I. Joe in some way.
I think it's good, and it has some good moments. I don't think it was the end-all be-all of movies, but I think it's good, and it has some good. It's definitely worth watching. Mm-hmm. It's a fun watch. But
before that, we did watch Black Widow. We
saw
it first,
and I was really in love with Black Widow, and unfortunately, I hate to be this person, and I love Scarlett Johansson. I have a girl crush on Scarlett Johansson, but her actions have kind of tainted the way I felt about that movie, and I feel bad that that's the way I feel, but that is the way I feel. Mm-hmm. I feel like they get so much money. She already got paid $20 million, which is something I will never see in my lifetime, much less for one amount of work, right? And then to sue the company and complain because they're releasing it, on Disney Plus, and she's not making as much money. Well, you don't know, because we're kind of in this new forefront of movies are changing and moving to how people are watching them and what people want and stuff.
Right.
So it, the time of actors making $50 million, $100 million, it may be coming to an end, which would be okay. Let's just be super honest. To me, that would be okay. I don't know. So I was in love with that movie, and then she kind of pulled that stunt, and I feel bad that that's the way it kind of made me feel about the movie. So now I have kind of this kind of attitude about the movie, I guess.
People are following suit on that, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's her face, who was Cruella? She's thinking about doing the same.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, yeah, that's it.
She's doing that for Cruella. I think. What's her name from Jungle
Cruise?
Jungle Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Is doing that as well.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a shame because of the pandemic, because we have the variant rising, there are more and more people who do want to stay home. Because you have people in their 20s and 30s like our sons don't want to go to the theater, and they grew up going to the theater. They went with us, and they just don't want to go. They don't want to be around other people. They don't want to listen to other people. They don't want to listen to other people's kids. They don't want to go.
I don't want to be around other people too, but we pick seats.
But we like the theater. I mean, that's just something that you and I like. So, I think it's going to have to evolve, and these actors need to stop throwing tantrums, in my opinion. But if I don't think about that,
back in the day, it meant more to us because way back in the day, we actually used to dress nice to go see movies.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go in how we dress now, in shorts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we would dress up to go there just to check it out, like we were going to see a
play or something.
Like a play or something.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think there were as many options back then either. You didn't have, like, 13 movies come out per weekend now, so there was a different feel and a different vibe to that.
Yeah.
And the industry grew like that, but again, the industry is going to have to change, I think, some. And with Netflix getting, what are these people getting paid for these movies that go straight to Netflix and everything?
Yeah.
There's got to be, because a lot of them are starting to go to that. So it's just got to be like a set salary, and if you don't get all these royalties and stuff.
On the thing with Black Widow is that she's suing for the potential of her hitting a certain amount of movie watches.
Right, revenue through the theaters.
To get a percentage of that potential, not actual.
Right.
Potential.
Right.
Well, it's not Disney's fault that COVID happened.
Right. And because it used to be, the model used to be the movie would be out for a year. And it would be like, a few weeks and it's in the theater, like the theater. And then it would kind of disappear for a little bit. And then you'd have like a couple of months where it was in like the cheaper theaters.
Yeah.
Which I don't even think we have any anymore. They're all gone. Yeah. And then you'd have to wait a little bit longer and they'd build it up and, they'd make some lithographs and stuff. And then you'd buy the movie. And then it would come to like a Blockbuster or something, right? Or a Redbox or whatever.
And then eventually network TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just not like that anymore. It's not like that because of COVID. It's not like that because people are changing the way they want to view stuff.
But as for Black Widow, aside
from all of that,
the
movie really was spectacular. The movie was spectacular. The acting was good on everybody's part, not just on Scarlett Johansson. Everybody was good. You knew what was coming, so it wasn't like. I think they tried to put some twists and turns, but if you've been paying attention to Marvel long enough, and if you've read comic books in your lifetime or whatever, you kind of know what all's coming. Yeah. So you know what's gonna happen, and so none of it's like a big surprise. The fight scenes were really good, even the over the top stuff, but I think you feel like because it's a comic movie, it should be over the top, right? So especially like the stuff in the prison and everything was just like really over the top, and you're like, really? And then the dynamic between her and her sister.
Well, I love because I love the comedy in it.
Yeah, the comedy was great.
Between her and her sister was great.
Where she's making fun of her because of the way she lands all the time. Yeah, that was super funny.
Why are you landing like that? Put your head up.
And then the sister ends up doing it eventually, and she's like, oh man, I can't believe I just did that. So I did get that, and that was one of the things that I liked from Thor Ragnarok, was that comedy between him and the Hulk. And so you get some of that in Black Widow, and you get that with the parental figures too, especially the dad. The dad's a hot mess, right? He is just a straight up joke, so you get some of that comedy too, because he is so clueless.
Because you like the buddy cop thing.
Yeah, I do. I like that kind
because you get that vibe from it.
Yeah. And I do like that kind of formula of movies. I like that buddy cop formula and everything. So, and who gets to be good cop?
It's not literally like
right
cops, but
no, but it's like good cop, bad cop. You get that same kind of thing, and like, I'm the one in charge. No, I'm the one in charge, and we're all kind of going our separate ways, but we're shackled to one another. It's a very Shanghai Noon, Shanghai Nights kind of feel to it. Yeah. So that was all really good. I am okay with things being female centric, and so I just don't want us to do it too much, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want it to be female centric just because they feel like they've got to push that agenda. But when it's female centric,
because I feel like, from what I'm hearing, the next part of Masters of the Universe is going to be Evelyn centric. So I think they kind of are pandering at that point.
See, and I hate for it to be pandering. I didn't feel like this was pandering.
Mm-hmm.
It was female centric, but it didn't feel pandering. Like the original Wonder Woman was like female centric and it didn't feel pandering, but yet the second Wonder Woman, the 1984, felt a little pandering.
Yeah.
So I feel like they need to be careful in that. It's great that you want to show us female characters.
Then it seems fake.
Right. But show us female characters in a realistic light.
Yeah. And you can show them as strong. That's
That's
don't
fine.
have a problem with that.
That's fine. But it needs to...
They can't always run to the male bashing, which I don't think they did in Black Widow.
No. I mean, they're bashing a male because he's the one who's doing this, but it's not like all men, right? It's just specific to
But
him.
they're bashing a dad figure.
Right.
And that's it's a little different from like, oh, it's because you're a man.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's just because you're dad.
Right. Right. And then both of the male figures in there were kind of dad figures, like kind of brought him up and brought him through the program and everything like that, but weren't good fathers, right? Because that's not their role. Their role is to make assassins, not to be good fathers. And so, yeah, you don't get that they're like she-man woman haters, even though it's all women who have been trained. It's just that they hate the way these specific men behaved.
Yeah.
And they need to pay for their actions. So, yeah. I thought it was really good. I thought the action was really good. I thought the acting was really good. I thought the comedy was really good. I thought all of the actors together had good chemistry.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes you can get those movies and like a couple of the actors are really good and you want the rest of the movie to be good, but everybody else kind of falls to the wayside or whatever.
They were all good.
And they were all good.
Every single one of them.
Everybody was good. Even like the lower characters that had like a blip, like some of the other little assassin girls, they were still good too in their interactions. So I felt like overall the casting was good and the storyline was good. I would definitely watch this one again, even though I'm mad at Scarlett for her little tantrum, but it's whatever.
Was it, if you think about it, was it her or was it her, what do they call him?
Her manager or whatever, who's getting a percentage.
You're not making more money, then I'm not making more money. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, and I don't know her personally. When you like a celebrity, you have this idea of them based on movies you've seen them in and, Instagram posts and Twitter, and none of that is really real. So, What? Shocking. What? I know. So, I mean, I think I built her up and I wanted her to be this.
They had with her, like with the vest.
That was cute.
But then it kind of makes you sad because you know what's going to happen.
Right.
Later, because this happens before Endgame.
It's before Endgame, yeah. So, but overall, I thought it was really great. It's definitely worth the watch. It's actually worth watching it more than once, in my opinion. So if we had to rank the two, Black Widow's here and Snake Eyes is... Snake Eyes was good, but it had some flaws that it seemed a little more pandery to me, and I struggled with that a little bit.
The flaws that I saw in it is just him dropping into his British accent. It's the only thing that bothered me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that bad.
It wasn't horrible. I wish he would have been a little more silent, a little bit more Snake Eyes, in my opinion. But he was some. They got it some of it. They started to kind of at the beginning when he's Fish Boy, and you kind of get that silence, and you're like, yeah. But then he like meets the girl, and it's a little too talky and a little too bravado, and it was a little too much, and so.
But then if you didn't have him talking, then I don't know if it would be as good as a movie. That he can't stand alone as a character.
Right.
If he doesn't talk.
Right. No, he needed to talk some.
Yeah.
So.
So I don't know how you do that balance.
It would have been hard. They needed to think about it a little bit more. But I did like the challenges that he had to go through and stuff, and in one of the challenges, I knew what he needed to do, and I was like, just do it, just do what you need to do, just do it, just pay attention to the clues, because the clues are really good. So so that was kind of National Treasure-ish too, that you got, like, they gave you a few minutes to kind of think about the clues that he was given to try to figure stuff out. So it was a good movie. Yeah. I think people need to not complain so much. It was a good movie. Go watch it. Go to the theater and watch some movies. Go watch some movies.
And if Colleen says it, then you know it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty picky.
Everything.
Vince likes everything, and I'm pretty picky. It was good.
Very cool. But no, that was the movies. It was awesome. It was a rant.
Random rants by Colleen as she derailed. And then one more movie. I know we're supposed to be finished, and oh my god, I can't remember the name of it. It just left my brain. But check on Netflix. There's a movie about a vampire on a plane. No more mother freaking vampires on this mother freaking plane. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a Netflix movie.
So good shout out for it.
So I'll put something up on social media when I remember what it is. But it was a really good movie, so I'll put something up about that. So check out our social media.
Really appreciate it. If you haven't clicked on that subscribe button, please click on that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so the next time we go live, you'll know. Thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen, and thanks to Stuart. Geek out, SA.
Just